This is Sonja from Panzerchrist.
This is Frederik from Panzerchrist, and you are listening to DIEnecology web podcast.
Cheers. It's a lot. Yeah. Cheers, you got it.
It's a cool name. I love it.
Do you ever fantasize about being killed? About all the different ways of dying?
Is it to awaken the fear of the passing of time? Or is it the failing beat of your own heart?
They learned parts of a dismembered female body had been found in a remote corner of San Bernardino County. Why was her skull left outside a local restaurant? And where is the rest of her body?
Death is only the beginning.
Sonja and Frederik, and it's good to have you guys here. Huge Panzerchrist fan, and All Witches Shall Burn. It's been out for quite some time, so if none of you have heard it, you need to go listen to it. It kicks ass. It's a continuation of Last of a Kind. You know, I think you guys recorded this in the same session as that album from last year.
Yep.
So yeah, looking forward to talking about it. It's on Emancipation Productions. So I guess, you know, like I said, it's been out a long time, but I guess to go back to this a little bit, just talk a little bit about the album before we get into the rest of this podcast here.
Absolutely.
So just like, you know, the recording process of the whole thing, because like I said, Last of a Kind and this were recording the same thing. So what, you know, made you guys kind of release the rest of this material, or was it planned to put out an EP to kind of keep things rolling after the record came out?
Yeah, I think, do you want to answer that?
Well, basically, we have too much material to put on one album.
Right.
Because there's a theoretical limit of, I think it's 40-something minutes.
Sure, yeah.
Before quality declines. So, yeah.
No, we think all the songs are really good, and we wanted to share all of them with you. So yeah, so that was the idea with the EP, to put out the extra tracks. And I think also they stand out a bit. They are a bit different than the rest of the sound of the album. So yeah, they sort of make up their own entity.
Yeah.
Especially the Devil song. Is sort of different from the rest.
Right.
It's more vicious and sharp in a way.
Yeah, I agree. And then including Sabbath of the Rat, was that just kind of to tie it into the last album, or did you want to just kind of reintroduce it?
I think it was tying the knot. Yeah.
Yeah. Bit of both.
Yeah, it's a hell of a way to.
It was the video track, so the first single of the album.
Yeah, it's a good way to tie it back in, because it's a killer song to start the album off, you know, because I don't think it's the first song on the actual record, but on the EP, you know, the way that it sets it off is pretty intense. So it's what you can expect from the band, and you know, really throwing in just heavy hitting, kind of blistering drums, and got the melodies in there, which is accustomed to the Panzerchrist sound. So I mean, I think you guys really nailed it on these releases.
Thank you.
And then really, I guess just talk about the lyrical content as we get into that a little bit. For the, I guess, you know, you can cover the record and the EP if you want, since it ties together, you know, I guess talk about the overall story of this, what this represents to the album.
Yeah, so Panzerchrist used to be a lot about tanks and war and stuff. But
exactly.
DIEnecology, who is the sort of the mastermind behind everything, he wanted to change because, as he says, there's enough war in the world, so maybe go to something a bit deeper. And there is a need for a more strong witchy women and this whole energy. So that was what he would like for sort of the new direction of Panzerchrist.
Absolutely.
yeah, so he gave me that direction for writing the lyrics, and that was what I did. So it's a bit of like witch hunts and a bit of devil worship and a bit of strong, powerful women.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's you know, the overall message is really cool, and getting deep into that kind of history is very interesting. And I don't, you know, sure it's touched on a lot, but I don't think it's touched on enough in a way. You know, there's a lot of rich content there and stories to be made.
Yeah, so the whole sorry.
No, you're
I
good.
just wanted to add that the whole album is built on the story from Denmark about series of witch trials that started in the small village of Køge, and yeah, so all of the songs are about one of these women, and added a bit of extra as well, but yeah, so it's sort of everything is tied together with this context of how this small village sort of exploded in pointing out everyone as witches, and it ended with the last one who was supposed to go on trial. She knew that she had to kill herself to stop this, because they were all like handing over each other and like saying, oh, she's a witch too, and she's a witch too, and so she knew she had to stop it by killing herself, basically.
Wow.
You know, so pretty powerful stuff, and
yeah,
a lot of history based on that, like women not speaking up, and like because we're afraid of being told we're witches. So,
sure, yeah. Pretty much. You know, it's cool hearing about this, you know, because here in the States, you know, we only really hear about our own history with witches and maybe a few other places, but you know, to hear that it's happened all over the world, and you're not really taught that in a lot of places. So it's definitely cool to hear that perspective, especially from like Denmark, you know, and in Danish history, you know, that it did happen everywhere, and it was like a worldwide, you know, epidemic almost, like witch hunting. Yeah, because you know, religion is worldwide, so it makes sense that happened, you know, and so this was like a, you know, real history with real people that actually happened, you know, but told through their perspective, but I guess also yours, which is cool, to be able to kind of tap into that medium, you know. And for you, Frederik, you know, you were on one of my favorite albums, Room Service. I think that's everybody's favorite Panzerchrist album. That was my introduction to you when I was like 12 years old. So, you know, being so coming back into the band,
to say me too as well.
Yeah, right. So I guess coming back into the fold, you know, for the last record, I guess just talk a bit, you know, about how that happened.
Well, I was sort of, I had more or less given up playing music.
Oh wow.
And Michael broke me one day, and he asked me could I do a few lead guitars for a little project he was doing. I didn't know it was Panzerchrist at the moment.
Right.
And it turned out he lived about a few hundred yards from where I worked at the time. So a bit, and a funny thing that we sort of just kicked off like I hadn't seen him for years.
Yeah,
maybe 15 years.
Wow.
So we sort of just you know, kicked off where we left. So yeah, good times.
Yeah. And you're writing
still young and beautiful.
Yeah. Right. Still going strong, you know. And yeah. So I guess kind of, you know, the lineup's always been changing for the band, and then I guess for you, you know, did it seem kind of natural to come back into that and write more Panzerchrist stuff, or did you kind of just?
Yeah, but to be fair, Michael had written most of the stuff, so
true. Yeah,
I've added melodies and leads and stuff like that, but Michael had this idea about making this. I'm actually not quite sure that if he wanted it to be a Panzerchrist album at the moment.
Yeah.
So anyway, he had this vision of doing this very raw black metal album, which it turned out to be. It's not as death metal as, for instance, say Room Service or Battalion Beast or the albums. Most of the other Panzerchrist stuff. So that was a conscious decision, as well as wanting to make an album like that. It's always Michael's always had this idea of not putting out the same album twice.
Yeah.
So
and I think we can add to the story that his Xbox broke down, so that was why he started writing music again.
Hey, you got to fill the time somewhere, That's we've all had the Xbox breakdown stories, when they the 360s first came out. I went through like 8 of them with the Rings of Death, so I know the pain, man, but it didn't get me to Panzerchrist, but I've gone through some Xboxes over the years myself. So, but yeah, the album sounds sick, and it's definitely more got like this really heavy like black metal sound to it, but it sounds new. It doesn't sound like remanufactured or anything like that. It sounds very unique, and it does have the Panzerchrist elements to it, where it definitely stands out that way. So I guess
I think it would be important to mention to Madsen as well, who's done all the engineering of the sound, and I mean he's just absolutely awesome at making the sound just right.
Yeah.
So I think he did a really good job on this album.
Yeah, he did, absolutely 100%. And then for you, Sonja, you and Danny came from Arsenic Addict, so was how did you guys kind of get recruited into Panzerchrist from there?
Well, I got a call from Emancipation, the label, saying, we have a job for you if you're interested. And it's recording an album with Panzerchrist in 10 days. And you need to write all the lyrics for 10 songs. So, and I mean, Panzerchrist was one of my favorite bands when I was a teenager as well. And I mean, I've been singing along in the mirror to room service. So, so it was definitely, yes, of course, I'm ready. I cancel everything. And so I met with Frederik and Mikael and Tue for the first time in the studio with my lyrics. And
wow.
That was absolutely awesome. I mean, we clicked right away, and I think we really it feels like we were together for longer before we did this. So I think we matched up. And Danny, we needed an extra guitarist, and I recommended Danny. So, and he's also a really good match. I think Frederik and Danny's guitars are just match each other in the way they play. It's really good, and we are also very dynamic live, and I think it works really well. So perfect match.
Indeed, there's no like I said, real flaws to the record. It does sound like you guys have just been a band for a long time, the way that it's structured and written out. You guys were nominated for a GAFA too. That's really cool. How did that feel?
It's always a pleasure to have the acknowledgement. Do you want to add anything?
We never made it to the second round, so
it's just to be nominated, I guess. I mean, here in the US,
we got so many nice reviews. Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. Like in the US, we don't really have a lot of any metal awards, so it's interesting how other countries treat it compared to here. It's definitely not as popular or appreciated. It sometimes it is, but most of the time, see you guys get nominated, it's just cool, even if it's just kind of like but
we were there.
And also we have to admit we have to admit that Panzerchrist is an acquired I would have loved the award. Panzerchrist is an acquired taste, and
sure.
So there are a lot of other bands that maybe are more I don't want to say easy listening, but
sure. I mean, easy listening for people like me, but certainly for someone else never hearing any kind of extreme music before, they'd be like, holy shit, what am I what have I gotten myself into? Like the record's fantastic, and overall the EP is really fun. So it's about 46 minutes of just that length of song. So I mean, you guys crammed in a lot to the rest of the to make a new release out of something you already did, so that's really cool to keep the train rolling for Panzerchrist. So what's next for you guys as a band? You got some more shows coming up, or keep writing, or
Yeah, we have news for
actually,
you.
we've just been in the studio,
Awesome.
recording a load of songs. So yeah, we're hoping for a release later this year.
Fantastic.
So yeah, we've got a new drummer on board. So
oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Anything
Almost the younger version of Reno. Yeah.
Really? No shit. Wow.
Yeah, he's amazing. Yeah.
Even
really
faster.
tight and really, yeah, always, yeah, absolutely amazing. So he was a scoop to
Yeah.
get. And also the new songs are like even faster, even heavier, even more like it has more of a death metal vibe, but still this very blacky sound, and yeah, more range in the what's it called, BPM speed.
Wow.
And yeah, I'm really excited about it. It's almost impossible to wait for the release. Now we know the songs and we have them, but
right,
you guys have to wait.
And then as far as the concept of it, if you can even talk about it, if you can't, that's fine. But yes. You keep the witch thing going, or you moving on to something else?
Yeah, we like the witchy stuff. So yeah, we're staying with that. So many stories to be told.
Sick.
So yeah, more of that.
I'm into it. Well, got new Panzerchrist on the way, so don't sleep on what they have right now. Definitely got to catch up with them.
And as we said before, in terms of the musical direction, it's not the same. We sort of made it the Last of a Kind album was that's as far black metal as we'll go.
Yeah.
For now, at least.
Right.
So we wanted to go sort of more death metal. So
there's also a bit of old school black metal sound on the new album.
Nice.
There's a lot of diversity, I think.
So, yeah. Awesome. I guess it's good to establish that strong black metal sound for this album, then kind of go more into the death metal the next one, while also amping up the black metal a little bit too. I mean, you
just amp up everything.
All right, exactly. Yeah, that's fucking awesome. I can't wait to hear what you guys are cooking up for the new release. That sounds damn. As I said, I'm a huge fan, so anything new, I'm excited to hear it.
Yeah.
So I guess the next thing we talk about.
Stuff coming.
Oh yeah,
loads.
I'm excited. Yeah. And you guys got some shows coming up or anything? Appearances?
Yeah, nothing announced yet, but yeah, there is stuff coming up very soon. Only Denmark, but we are hoping to go elsewhere as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, we are not that young anymore, so it's not like a 6 months tour with shows every day. But yeah, it would be really nice to go to the States, and also we have a lot of fans in Germany, and
for sure,
yeah, that could be so cool.
Yeah, I got a passport now, so I'm willing to go wherever.
You're so welcome.
Not opposed to it. So yeah, the second half we usually talk about on this podcast is like how, death metal or just extreme music in general. We talk about death a lot and violence, and it's usually, we don't really glorify it or anything. It's just perspective and how that kind of stuff is all around us, and especially the Panzerchrist talking about war a lot, and even with these, with the witches and everything too, and how they were, wrongfully accused and executed, and all that. So really, I just kind of try to figure out with people if they've had real experiences that kind of helped influence, their direction for the band itself and lyrical writing, and if you kind of have a way of tapping into that with your actual perspective and real life experiences, and kind of what makes it almost therapeutic to really have this kind of medium to be able to talk about it, where people can also enjoy it positively, even though it's stories about violence and war, but people still love it and enjoy it. But, it's kind of escaping the reality of it while getting the perspective. So that's a lot to take in. But I mean, basically I'm asking like, what are your personal experiences, if you're okay with sharing them, if any, that kind of help influence your your songwriting and way of explaining other perspectives of death and stuff like that.
Oh, I could talk for hours about that. Thank you so much for inviting.
Yeah.
Is it okay I go first, Frederik?
Go ahead.
Thank you. So I'm a body therapist and tattoo artist, and I work with Nordic, like the Nordic mythology and this very dark sort of primordial powers, sexual energy and all this. And for me, extreme music is a big release. Like I love shouting at people from stage and really diving into this aggression and giving it a space. Like it's okay to feel these things. We shouldn't take it out on others, as you say. I mean, we shouldn't glorify violence, for instance, but like these are natural feelings. These are human feelings, emotions that should be processed and should have a space. And we're so mindy all the time. So like to really feel into what your body does and how this aggression and this really deep violence and big emotions, how they actually feel in you. I mean, that's what this extreme metal does for me. And I mean, they always say that metalheads are the most friendly and kind and helpful people that you will ever meet. And I think that is because we have this outlet that we actually embrace these emotions in a positive way.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's and I mean, for me, it's very present with all this witch hunts stuff, because it still influences how women are perceived in society and how we hold ourselves back. So I think it's really important to bring this up as like a collective trauma in a way that we need to heal. For like, we talk a lot about gender and stuff at the moment, and it's not really something I've like. We don't need to go into that because it's also a male issue. Like we all have this kind of witchy energy in us that's suppressed because of this.
Right.
So yeah, I think it's really important to bring these issues up and go into that anger and the grief and everything that's connected to this wound.
Exactly.
So, and as I say, I can talk about it for hours. So I will let Frederik take over if he has anything.
Well, it's just it's an excellent topic for music. Like we play, it's I mean, it's I don't know how philosophical I am about it in that way, but it's as Sonja said.
You studied English literature. You're very philosophical.
You got it.
Yeah, well, it's an outlet, and it's and what I like about it, what we're doing at the moment, is that it's very conceptual, you know, as a whole, and yeah, and it's just, I mean, good fun.
Yeah, death can be good fun in a way. Just, you know, not in a physical sense actually doing it, but just to be able to you know, more or less have it imaginative, and also in a perspective of someone else that has faced things like that, because we can always kind of channel it into ourselves and what we've been through and see how they see in a way, and then in the same right, you know, fans can listen to the lyrics themselves and see that perspective too, and kind of put it in their own perspective. And something like, you know, witch hunts are pretty intense, real history, you know, and to be able to have that really described to you and be able to understand, you know, what those women go through and what they still do. That's whether you're, you know, whatever your gender may be, reading that and understanding that is huge, you know, because it is real. But, you know, you put imagination into it too and make it kind of badass and fun and, you know, just to kind of escape the reality while also understanding the reality, which I think is a huge reason why extreme music is such a good thing to have around. Whether people just think it's just screaming and just loud music and nonsense, I mean, that's fine too. But, you know, I think there's a lot more depth to this style of music because of how far, you know, we're willing to go as far as explaining something real, and like probably the realest things you can explain, because, you know, you hear all the stuff about love and breaking up and, you know, all the usual poppy stuff, but I think death and stuff like that needs to be talked about more. And, I think this kind of brings it more into a level of people like, fans that really understand this, but can have a good time and get out their anger by, throwing each other around in a pit and helping each other up, having a fantastic time, kind of hurting each other, but in a respectful manner. So it's always been crazy to me how I even got into this, because I was never really like the angriest kid, but I guess that's because I've always had this outlet to kind of channel that out. And a lot of people have their own ways of getting out of anger. They'll go to the gym, or they'll scream on top of a mountain. I don't know what they do, but I've always had
There's
this,
also,
so I've been very
and there's
fortunate.
also, sorry, I keep interrupting you.
No,
there's
fine.
also this community in the metal scene that I think helps a lot of people, like to be able to share this experience in such a loving way. I think that's also a part of it, a very important part of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was away from the whole scene in 15 years ish, and when we started doing the shows, we did a number of festival shows in Denmark last year, and it's I've bumped into loads of people I hadn't seen for ages, and it was well, how are you doing? And just sort of just you can walk straight into it, and sort of same thing with Michael. You can just pick up where you left, really, and it's
yeah.
Yeah,
it's a good feeling. I had a similar thing happen. I was out of the scenes for a long time, and just coming back, it's like I never left. Everyone was just so happy to see you, and
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's a good feeling. And I think metal's very unique as far as community, because we're all weird people, but we're very intelligent. I think some of the most intelligent people I've met are in metal, and they just have a good grasp on reality, and like I said, we can have fun with violent concepts and war, and like it's badass, but we know that it's, these are the real issues in our world, and that it's good we have the proper way of bringing that to other people's attention. And I think that's important, because, I don't think a lot of people know really how to interpret what they're seeing a lot of the time, because there's just so much going on, and negativity, especially now. But I think metal in the metal community, and I think that's why it goes back and forth, but I think it's getting more recognized now, because this is the music that really can, like I said, interpret that kind of what's going on, like the best way.
And also, there's been a shift in lyrical content recently, like within the last 10 years. If you go back to 90s, it was all about slashing women and having fun with that. And now it's more like it has more of a serious twist. Like it's not like, there's not this like, let's go and kill a woman in a bad way. Exactly. Now it's more like the deeper meaning of this aggression, I feel. Yeah, which is good.
It's a good way to put it. Yeah, there was a lot of that. And it's a normal thing, a serial killer thing. Usually it's a, male killing, having a lot of female victims. So it's easier to write about. But, there's so much more to write about than that, especially these days. There's no lack of killing or violence going on. So there's plenty of ways to have plenty of stories to grab from and talk about it,
I think even in the 90s, a lot of the gore stuff was very sort of tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah.
It was, if you can put it that way, but it's for an outsider, that might look, somewhat twisted.
Yeah, to say the least.
But I mean, if you can distance yourself from it and say, take a band like Cannibal Corpse, who are huge today. I mean, the albums they did, and with the censored covers, cover artworks, and a band like Carcass, for instance. The first couple of albums, these autopsy pictures in this big plumage. I mean, I was a huge fan of those covers.
Oh yeah, me too. Yeah.
Yeah.
They had remember their EP or whichever one it was, they had the actual JFK autopsy photo. It's like, man, that's crazy. I always thought that was so cool. You gotta love a band that just does that, you know, that
but now everything is available online, so you have to go like even more extreme if you want to provoke the same emotions in people.
Exactly, yeah.
Not that we're trying to do that, but yeah.
Right. Yeah, I'd say, you know, like I said, Panzerchrist has always been more historical, and I'm a huge history buff, and I love reading about all that kind of shit, like war and the witch trials too. I love reading about all that stuff.
Yeah.
As tragic as it is, it's just so profound and interesting that people go as far as they do, like, you know, in that extreme for religion or politics or whatever it is. I mean, it's very interesting to me. And also, you know, to have a band like Panzerchrist that's, you know, you guys are kind of at this point trusted to tell these stories, and we love to hear about them, you know. Not to hear that they really happen, but they do happen, you know. And I think Panzerchrist is one of the best when it comes to being able to relay these historical stories, and especially someone like me who lives in the States, I get to hear things about perspectives from other parts of the world. And so I think that's very you know, I think that's important as far as just metal in general and just music, to be able to have these shared perspectives from around the world.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. And but yeah, it's been awesome talking to you guys, and you know, I said huge fan, so thank you for coming on and chatting with me for a little bit.
Our pleasure.
Yeah. And you know, I guess like I said, EP has been out for a long time, so if you guys haven't heard it yet, you should definitely go do that and buy some of the shit from them. And Last of a Kind as well. That's been out for like a year. So what are you all doing? Go pick it up. Hopefully, you know, you guys got a new release coming out sometime, hopefully soon. So I'm excited to hear that. And hopefully
we hope to have something out on that very soon.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, there'll be single releases before. So
yeah. Awesome.
Something coming out within the next not so many months. Yeah.
Awesome. I'm very excited to hear it. And yeah, like I said, thank you guys so much for talking to me for a little bit today. Yeah, thank you guys so much. It was an absolute pleasure. And I can't wait to hear
thank you.
The songs, and I'm digging the new releases, so just keep kicking ass like you guys always do. And hope to see you at a show sometime. If I have to fly out there, I'll do it. So yeah.
Hope to see you then.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks a lot, guys.